Hello there, YouTube. Devin here again, and today I'm going to be doing a first kind of breakdown and looking into this recent purchase that I got. So I figured that you guys could come along here with me in this journey. This happens to be a Chinese Type 54 Tokarev made in 1984. So it is a very, very, very late one. As you can see, it's basically unissued. It's brand new. This is one of the ones that was sent to Albania as aid, where they basically shelved it, and then when it was time to be brought into the United States, they installed this trigger safety onto it because Tokarevs, in order to be imported, because they do not have a safety aside from the little half-cock position like that, which if you did bang this hard enough, it would go off, but that wasn't safe enough to be imported. So unfortunately, they did have to include a safety. So this is actually probably one of the easiest safeties because you can just restore it back to its original full-on condition by just replacing the trigger. So we're gonna go into this gun like basically as far as I can here. I don't have the tool for it or anything yet, but we're gonna just kind of try to figure this out and wing it with what I know. So I got a couple little punches here that are not necessary for drifting anything out or anything, but you'll see why. So we're just going to start taking this whole thing apart. We're going to start by dropping the magazine. See here, still has the mineral oil on it from storage and all that other good jazz. Pretty well built magazine, actually. It feels kind of thin, but it's actually like surprisingly good steel. So if you're wondering, this one was made by Factory 66. As you can see by that 66 right there, it's all numbers matching gun. It's got a couple little like chatter marks on it or something like that from storage or being dropped or something, but overall it's basically a brand new gun. You really can't go wrong with it. So the next thing we're going to do here, obviously, is we are going to fully like decock the trigger all the way, make sure it's up all the way, stuff like that, everything. And then we're going to depress this bushing, which is what I have this big brass pin for. You're going to fight the spring pressure here, and you're going to rotate that bushing over, or try to anyways, okay? Now this is all under tension, so I got my thumb holding that spring in, because once I remove this bushing, all right, she's going to want to fly out of there. But she is captive, so you can't pull the spring out, as you can see. But that makes it fairly easy to do. So you really can't lose it. This little nub is actually pretty captive too. It doesn't just come out, so you don't really have to worry about losing any part of this gun. Credit to the Soviets who designed it. It's actually a pretty well designed gun. It's pretty hard to lose any part of this gun. It's all relatively big parts. Next thing we're going to do is we have this little kind of slide key here. It does have a little bit of a detent on it, which if you have long fingernails and some grip strength, you could probably do that, but I don't want to peel my fingernail back, so you just want to use our pin to kind of try and push that key off. You don't need to push it all the way off like that. I got a little bit tad overzealous. But you just need to slide it back off this first pin. Okay, that's all you need to do, which will allow you to pop the safety lever off, the slide catch lever. Once the slide catch lever is off, then all you need to do is you could pull the whole slide forward. Okay, and now we're going to set the frame down. We don't need any more of these pins for a little while. That's pretty much everything there. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the guide rod and the spring follower right there, so you can clean those, all that other good stuff. As you see, once again, basically brand new, still in their factory mineral oil. Then for the barrel, to remove the barrel, now a lot of people I see kind of try to yank these and do stuff kind of the weird way. If you don't have any experience with a Tokarev or anything before, you want to push this little loop. So this little loop here is part of the action, and what it does is this little piece right here of the slide lever goes through that. When the gun's all together. So you got to push this little loop all the way towards the muzzle and up, okay? And then make sure the barrel is outside of its safety grooves, and you should be able to pull it right out of the front of the gun. So there you go. You can see there's your barrel and your chamber and your little loop there. So these are the two locking surfaces on the gun, and they fit into those two recesses here in the slide. That is pretty much all the further you need to take the slide apart for a field stripping condition or to really do any basic maintenance on it. That's pretty much it. That's that's about all of that. To continue on disassembling the, well, as you can see there, that's how easy that was. To disassemble the frame, the whole trigger packet and hammer and everything slides out as one self-contained unit. You can disassemble this farther by drifting the pins out, but there really isn't any need to. You can pretty much lube and clean just about everything you would need to right here in this little packet. And then to disassemble the grips and everything, if you wanted to ever, change the grips or anything like that, we're going to need to look here at the mag well, because the grips have 2 different locks in. There's no screws or anything holding them in place. It's just 2 little rotated pieces of metal, which is why I have this little metal punch. We're going to reach into the bottom of the mag well here, and we're going to slide one of those levers over on the grip panel with the lanyard loop. And when this comes off here, I will show you what I mean when it talks about that. So as you can see here, we have this relief cut on the grips, okay? And then you have this little sliding piece of metal. So when the metal is like that, it is unlocked, and when it is like this, as you can see, these 2 little tabs on either side of this little T piece of metal slide over the frame, okay, of the handgun here, and lock the grip panel into place. Then you can see there's how you unlock the other grip panel on the other side. So rather than this T contraption, it's just a regular rotating bar with 2 loops in it. So once again, you could just take your punch or whatever, or if your disassembly tool, and you're just rotating that over enough to where the grip will just pop right out. So there's your grip. So this is what's left of the frame. The only thing we can really do with this even further is to take the trigger out and the trigger return spring. So we're going to detent this little flat spring here in the back of the gun. If you could see that maybe in there, there's a little spring in there, okay, that I am pushing. That would normally just push the trigger back forward. And so what we're going to do is we're going to detent that spring and kind of fiddle with our trigger. As you can see, this trigger bar here now is not horizontal anymore at the frame, and the trigger can just come right out. And then to remove that little flat spring, it's just hooked in place in there, and then that just pops right out too. So that is one fully disassembled Tokarev. So now you can do your basic maintenance. Obviously, reassembly is going to be the opposite of assembly. It's actually a fairly simple gun to take apart. It's quite easy. It's got a lot of features. So as with a lot of Soviet technology, such as the Mosin and other stuff like that, it isn't the easiest gun to manufacture. It's not. But parts like this are really, really smart. So if your fire control group is like broken in any way, you just drop in a whole new one. And they're all interchangeable, which is fantastic. So something this simple, you just, bam. It is complicated to machine. It's not as easy it is to make, as other handguns parts and stuff like that. But it is a very easy part to just drop in and replace if something does ever go wrong. So that's really, really cool and really well thought out. And it also keeps you from being able to lose all of the small parts and everything like that, because it's all one contained, pinned in place piece. And this is all that the soldier should ever have to replace if something ever goes wrong, with their fire control group, is just the whole fire control group. And then this broken one will be sent back to the armorer to be repaired and probably sent back out to the field. So not the easiest gun to disassemble, but obviously it shoots a really, really hot cartridge. A lot of you are very big fans of the Tokarev out there. I am as well. A little 30 caliber bullet, really, really moving quite fast. So hopefully, if you have never taken a Tokarev apart, or you've just recently got one, this will show you how to do it. And of course, assembly is just everything back in the opposite. So I'm going to do that now, end the video. Thank you all for stopping by. Hopefully you learned something cool about the Tokarev that maybe you didn't know, about how easy Soviet guns are to take apart, and former Soviet guns. Even though this one is Chinese, it is a direct copy of the Soviet ones, and a lot of the Eastern Bloc countries also had their own models as well. So thank you all for watching. Hopefully you learned something today. Please continue to be safe. This is by no means for YouTube here to use as an instructional video for building a gun or anything. I'm just trying to make sure people are safe and are maintaining their guns, because these are pieces of history and they deserve to be enjoyed and maintained and treated with respect and care and everything, just like everything else. So Probably going to get demonetized for this video because I am showing a firearm and stuff like that, even though it is in controlled environment and it is for educational and safety purposes. YouTube's kind of hit or miss and stuff on that. So if you do want to consider maybe giving me a donation on Patreon, the goal is to hopefully get to $100 by the end of the year. We're at about 70. I will leave a link to that in the description. Thank you all for stopping by, and hopefully I can see all of you here in the next video. Bye-bye now.